Good evening, I'm Adrian Arsenault.
And I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, a vaccination standoff with patients' health in the balance.
There are definitely going to be consequences, negative impacts.
Thousands of Quebec nurses unwilling to get vaccinated will be suspended. Can the stretched healthcare system cope?
And catching COVID after vaccination.
I was just frustrated and upset and then terrified.
What we're learning about rare breakthrough infections.
A Canadian-born economist wins a Nobel Prize.
So many people have helped me along the way.
The 2 a.m. call with the surprise of his career.
Holy smokes, are you kidding?
An incredible show in Vancouver's backyard. Why more whales are getting up close along the BC coast. This is The National. For months, we've heard that getting vaccinated is the key to beating COVID-19.
But while Canada is making real progress, it's also facing a real challenge. So in the big picture, Canada is doing pretty well. More than 80% of the eligible population, some 27 million people, are now fully vaccinated, and nearly 90% of the eligible population has had at least one shot. But among the unvaccinated, thousands of frontline healthcare workers dealing with vulnerable patients every day. Some provinces and hospitals are even making the shots mandatory for staff or else face suspension. Now, at this point, healthcare systems are already stretched and can't afford to lose frontline workers. But Quebec could be about to lose as many as 9,000 of them. Sharon Yonan-Reynolds shows us why.
A major deadline is looming over Quebec's healthcare workers: get vaccinated by Friday or be suspended without pay. Now Quebec's Order of Nurses is going even further, threatening to suspend their licenses. The order says some 4,300 Quebec nurses are not adequately vaccinated, and the vaccine status is unknown for more than 5,000 more. As many as 9,000 face possible suspension. To fill the gap, the province is offering $12,000 bonuses to retired nurses who choose to come back full-time. But with the system already under strain, some worry about the effects on already exhausted staff.
First of all, on the service level, but also around the whole organization of the workplace, which was already stressed very much so.
Other provinces have taken similar measures. In Windsor, Ontario, 89 hospital workers lost their jobs or hospital privileges for refusing the vaccine. BC has pushed their deadline for long-term care workers to have both shots to November 22nd. Health experts say even if it causes a strain on the system, the risk of keeping on unvaccinated staff is too great.
Especially when you look at long-term care institutions where people who have direct patient contact are interacting with the most vulnerable members of our population, the people who would be at highest risk for a COVID outbreak.
Patients advocates say dealing with gaps in patient care isn't ideal, but it's better than the alternative.
For us, the risk is not as high as contamination risk of other health workers towards patients and other colleagues.
Quebec nurses who've been suspended can get their licenses back with proof of vaccination, while the provincial health minister says it's never too late for nurses to go and get their shots. Sharon Yonan-Reynolds, CBC News, Montreal.
Canadians are marking their second pandemic Thanksgiving, but in some places like Alberta, where COVID is still rampant, experts say this holiday could make or break the healthcare system. Julia Wong explains.
The kitchen in this Edmonton restaurant is busy as staff put the final touches on takeout Thanksgiving meals. Manus Nambier's family normally celebrates with 15 to 20 people. Not this year.
It was kind of a bummer. We couldn't have the normal Thanksgiving that we would like to have. We couldn't see our family.
Instead, he's picking up a special Thanksgiving lunch for himself and his grandmother. Denise Walker and her family are all vaccinated. They come from 5 households, so decided to gather outside. There are limits on gatherings both indoors and out.
We don't feel comfortable being all in the same households right now, like indoors.
Albertans are celebrating Thanksgiving differently this year as hospitals continue to struggle under a 4th wave. ICUs still well beyond their normal capacity. New infections are not rising exponentially, but are still too high.
I say we have reached a tipping point in terms of what can be reasonably expected of not just nurses, but, well, healthcare providers. In fact, I think we've passed that.
Gatherings last Thanksgiving triggered the start of the second wave, which peaked 2 months later. Premier Jason Kenney says Alberta has made some gains recently, but it's precarious.
They could all be lost overnight this weekend if Albertans do not carefully follow the public health guidelines.
One ICU doctor puts it even more bluntly.
If we don't follow the rules, things will get substantially worse. We'll lose Christmas over this.
Nambiar is not a fan of the rules, but he understands why they're needed.
It sucks, but it's definitely necessary. It's not like we should break some rules just so we can have a little bit of fun for one day.
Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
Now it's New Brunswick that saw some of the tightest gathering restrictions this Thanksgiving weekend as the province deals with a record number of active cases, 1,037 infections.
We're still analyzing and looking at the data. We're watching things very closely. Time will tell if we're really turning the corner.
The province reported 1 death and 98 new cases today, most among people who aren't fully vaccinated. More than 80% of eligible New Brunswickers are fully vaccinated.
Well, tomorrow marks the start of the NHL season, and in most big cities, Canadians will be able to pack indoor arenas in huge numbers. But as Jamie Strachan tells us, some in Ontario question why rinks can be packed while other businesses cannot.
On an idyllic Thanksgiving Day, a chance to enjoy a patio meal. And with indoor dining limited, patios are keeping some restaurants afloat.
We're not allowing people inside without full vaccine. So we still sit the patio for now, but as soon as that's done, it's going to be like, okay, what do we do?
With winter coming, Ontario restaurants wonder why their indoor capacity remains limited, while the province is given the green light for fans to pack arenas to watch the Leafs and Senators.
The industry is in an uproar.
Tony Elena says allowing thousands in an arena, but only 100 or so in a restaurant, doesn't make sense.
Well, the rationale thus far has been that in a restaurant, people take their masks off when they're sitting down on a table to eat. Well, those large stadiums, those large arenas, those large rooms also have concession stands, and people have to take their mask off to eat.
Gyms and fitness centers will also continue to have indoor capacity limited.
It's kind of one of those things you scratch your head at again. There's been throughout the pandemic just where the reasoning is behind some of these decisions.
Experts say it's because a majority of the province's infections have happened in restaurants and gyms.
If these 19,000 people in the hockey arena are all wearing masks and the ventilation is okay and everybody is vaccinated in there, the risk is considerably lower, for the 100 to 200 people around you than in a restaurant where people actually are eating and drinking without any masks.
The director of Ontario's Science Advisory Table also points out that people shouldn't think of it as 19,000 people under one roof.
It's the cluster of people surrounding you that actually dominates the risk calculations and risk considerations.
Okay, and Jamie, you're outside Toronto's Scotiabank Arena, home of the Leafs. What do returning fans need to know?
They need to know that when they come to this arena later this week, that the stadium is going to be full and that they're going to have to wear their mask except when they're eating food or having a drink. That's what experts say is going to be the key to whether this all works. As we saw with the Blue Jays, though, Andrew, earlier this month, fans there often didn't wear their masks, even if they weren't eating or drinking. If that's the case here at Scotiabank Arena and in arenas across Ontario, that's going to be a problem. So experts say 20,000 people in the seats here, but please keep your mask on. Andrew?
Okay, Jamie Strachan in Toronto tonight. Thanks.
Now to a story about a Canadian-born economist who has got to be feeling on top of the world tonight. David Card is one of 3 people who has just learned they've won the Nobel Prize for Economics. He's being recognized for changing the way we think of minimum wage. Marina von Stackelberg now on Canada's newest Nobel laureate.
At 2 in the morning, economist David Card got a strange call from Sweden. He thought it was his friend Tim goofing around.
He's the kind of guy who would pull this stunt.
David Card, for his empirical contributions
to labor economics.
But it wasn't a trick. Card is one of 3 winners of this year's Nobel Prize in Economics.
As long as I have a job in my hand during this pandemic.
Card's work changed how economists look at workers like Navneet Kaur, a minimum wage employee and New Canadian. In the 1980s and 90s, Card's research proved when more immigrants arrive, the wages of people already in the community don't go down. He also showed that if you raise minimum wage, it doesn't create a labor shortage. Instead, the higher pay attracts more employees.
I think at the time the conclusions were somewhat controversial. Quite a few economists were quite skeptical of our results.
Card's former student, now a leading labor economist himself, says Card used real-world events in his research. That was pioneering.
The research on the minimum wage was really important because prior to that, lots of economists would tell you, oh, sure, you can try to help people by raising the minimum wage, but then you're going to kill jobs.
Decades after Card's research, it's something the labor movement says still needs debunking.
Minimum wage workers are actually going to buy more goods and services. They might rent an apartment that's slightly bigger. They may put their kids in an extracurricular activity or two. It's going to actually add to economic activity.
Along with today's accolades, the Chancellor of Berkeley gave Card one more prize.
I'm pleased to award you a highly coveted parking space near your office, a rare honor bestowed on UC Berkeley's Nobel Prize winners.
The school says they'll be sure to get him a different type of parking spot. He rides his bike to work. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Okay, London's Metropolitan Police, they have dropped the sexual abuse investigation into Prince Andrew. It was sparked by an American woman who alleged she was forced to have sex with the prince. But the lack of charges does not mean the end of trouble for Andrew or the royals. Dominic Velitis explains.
Virginia Giuffre says she was just 17 years old when this picture was taken. She claimed she was trafficked to the UK by the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and sexually assaulted by Prince Andrew. An allegation the senior royal has repeatedly denied.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
Giuffre has brought a civil case against Prince Andrew in the US, in which she alleges he abused her at 2 properties belonging to Jeffrey Epstein and at a 3rd in London belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's associate. When details of Virginia Giuffre's civil case emerged in August, British police examined whether there was a criminal case. Now they've announced no further action would be taken regarding the allegations surrounding Prince Andrew.
Whilst they're willing to continue the investigation if new evidence comes to light, what they've done is concluded that there's less than a 50% chance of securing a successful conviction beyond reasonable doubt against Prince Andrew.
Giuffre's civil case, though, is still active. Royal watchers say it could heap further damage on Prince Andrew, who stepped back from royal duties in 2019.
Whatever happens from here on in, it's going to be almost impossible for Prince Andrew to rehabilitate his image. His damaged image damages bits of the monarchy.
And although British police today ruled out any formal criminal investigation into the allegations surrounding Prince Andrew, they say they will continue to work with other law enforcement agencies. Dominic Velitis, CBC News, London.
Another British royal was speaking out, voicing his concerns over climate change. In an interview with the BBC, Prince Charles urged world leaders to do more than just talk when they gather for the UN Climate Summit in Glasgow at the end of the month.
The problem is to get action on the ground, which is what I've been trying to do for the last 40 years.
Prince of Wales says he understands the growing frustration among young climate campaigners, even if he doesn't always agree with some of their protesting tactics.
Whales are once again being spotted along the shorelines of British Columbia's south coast. But they came so close, in fact, that you could see them right from downtown Vancouver this weekend. Susanna De Silva shows us why researchers believe this incredible show is a pretty good sign.
I need to go see these boys.
It was a sight that left witnesses scrambling for a better look.
Holy smokes, are you kidding?
Orcas paying a visit to downtown Vancouver.
The planes obviously can't park here because there's some real
nature happening here, right? So it's just amazing.
Robert Johnson captured the spectacle.
See that kind of amazing majesty, it's just, that was the largest creature I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe things like that live. It's crazy, yeah.
But they do, and many seem to be thriving in the waters off BC's coast.
We're seeing a return to a balanced ecosystem unlike anything that I knew in my lifetime, and perhaps for the first time in centuries.
Researchers say many whales are making a comeback, the exception being the southern resident killer whales, which rely on dwindling salmon returns. But others, like humpbacks and transient killer whales believed to be the ones seen downtown, are returning. Transients feed on mammals like seals, whose populations have been increasing.
The seals that used to be concentrated in a few places, they began to move and start to hide out because now it's risky to go out in the open. And now we're finding the killer whales are coming into these spots. Some are near Cole Harbor, maybe near the seaplanes, maybe near the ferries.
Good news for those who came today hoping for a glimpse.
I'm excited that there are whales around, so let's see. Once I see one, I'm going to be more excited, that's for sure.
Because I saw the small flick on the TV and on YouTube about the whales. So that's why I'm here.
I'll be very happy to see them, but I don't know. It's not normal, right?
It's a moment Johnson won't soon forget.
Definitely changes your perspective and what kind of animals and creatures live underneath the water here in downtown Vancouver.
And scientists hope the more sightings, the more the public will want to protect them. Susanna De Silva, CBC News, Vancouver.
Whale watching is, of course, a big draw for tourists, an industry that has taken a major hit due to the pandemic. Despite some modest recovery, there is particular concern among Canada's Indigenous tourism operators. As Renee Filipponi shows us, Indigenous operators are not expected to recover as quickly as their peers.
What you're seeing above that particular opening, right above it, is the mat.
At the Incomeek Desert Cultural Center, Derek Bryson shares his band's history with visitors, who have been few and far between during the pandemic.
Without the visitors coming, we're very stale. We're not doing much. We're losing out on revenue. We're losing out on sharing a piece of ourselves with everyone else.
He and others in the Indigenous tourism industry could be feeling that loss for quite a while.
The unpredictability surrounding this is very, very real. It's a fearful fear.
A recent report from the Conference Board of Canada says Indigenous tourism operations are not expected to return to pre-pandemic levels until 2028, nearly 5 years later than the overall tourism industry.
We have businesses that are selling assets right now just to pay the bills.
This Indigenous tourism representative says some businesses won't survive. Others won't recover until foreign travel returns to normal.
Some of the more rural, remote, northern experiences, really 90 to 95% of their business was international.
Yeah, we replaced all these. Yeah. They're all new. Beautiful.
Esqueo Air's owner, Tira Fraser, says like all airlines, hers took a hit from COVID.
We had a whole season booked, lots of work uplifting and supporting Indigenous tourism, to have it disappear literally almost overnight.
The launch of Esqueo Air 2 years ago marked the first female-founded Indigenous airline. Fraser saw the business as a way to connect remote communities. She says in order to thrive, the entire Indigenous industry needs more support.
Indigenous peoples and businesses, they uplift their families, they uplift their communities, and that social, ecological impact, economic impact is shared.
Something she says is key at a time when there is a push for reconciliation. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
From travel to work from home, the pandemic has also changed how a lot of us dress.
I don't even know if I could go back to wearing dress pants.
Next on The National, we look at whether comfort is a fashion trend that is here to stay.
The fully vaccinated Canadians still catching COVID-19.
And I thought, really? Why? Why is this happening?
What we know about breakthrough cases.
And the Man of Steel has a new love interest.
Now this character is bisexual, is something like me. It makes a huge difference.
The power of Superman's coming out. We're back in 2.
Some spectacular video out of Spain, where this volcano has been erupting for weeks. Massive blocks of red-hot lava, some as large as 3-story buildings, have forced about 6,000 people out of their homes. Hundreds of structures have been engulfed by lava, including the cement factory, causing a huge cloud of toxic smoke.
When millions moved to work from home at the start of the pandemic, a fashion revolution was sparked. All those dress clothes started collecting dust. People turned to a comfortable look, athleisure, as it were. Now people are slowly headed back to the office, but as Jacqueline Hansen shows us, this time they may take comfort with them.
After long putting style before comfort, now comfort is the style.
I don't even know if I could go back to wearing dress pants.
Pre-pandemic activewear made up a quarter of all clothing sales in Canada.
Today, it's marked above a third of the sales, so you can see how that's dramatically impacted apparel.
Even luxury men's brands like Harry Rosen and Hugo Boss are trading suits for sweats.
It's going to be hard to soon differentiate between athleisure and just casual or even workwear.
Major retailers like Gap are evolving to keep up. Since 2019, Gap has closed more than 80 locations of its business casual brand Banana Republic in North America.
And it's closed more than 200 locations of the Gap, including this flagship store in Toronto.
But a new source of strength is Gap's athleisure wear brand, Athleta. It's opened nearly 40 locations over the same period, including its first in Canada just a short time ago.
Athleta is a big part of the growth trajectory for the corporation.
Its leggings aim to be both comfortable and versatile.
You can throw a boot on with it and, wear it to work.
The biggest activewear brands in Canada are Lululemon and Nike. They make up a quarter of the market, though according to this industry advisor, there is room for more.
The market is fairly fragmented. It's highly competitive, but it's also an opportunity for brands to come in and disrupt.
Canadian brand Michi aims to do just that with its newest work leisure pieces.
I don't think the general customer is going to completely get it right away. I think it will take a few seasons. I think it'll take some competitors doing very similar things.
Though a banner year for sales of Michi's basic leggings suggests
comfort is not going anywhere.
A model for everyday fashion that more and more Canadians are buying into. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, while it's rare, some fully vaccinated people are still catching COVID-19.
I was just frustrated and upset and then terrified.
Next, what we know about these so-called breakthrough infections. Plus,
my 25 plus years of education, I've never seen this.
That is because for her small school, oddly, there are a lot of twins. We'll hear from the kids a little later.
Welcome back. Despite all the precautions, some breakthrough COVID infections were bound to happen. But that doesn't make it any less frustrating for those who get them. Joanna Remiliotis looks into their experience and the potential lasting effects.
Breakthrough infections. They don't happen often, and it's still not clear who is at highest risk of getting one. Jackie Zender recently spent a couple of weeks in her basement, isolating from her family. She's double vaccinated, super careful, and she still got COVID.
And I thought, really, why? Why is this happening? I'm not partying. I'm not doing things that are putting me at risk. And I was just frustrated and upset and then terrified.
It may seem baffling, but it's not unexpected. About 30% of new COVID cases in Ontario are among fully vaccinated individuals. And while the vast majority of cases are mild, they can feel rough.
Like I had been run over by a truck, like I could not function.
Zender was being monitored daily by a virtual care team at Toronto's Michael Garron Hospital. Dr. Jeff Powis is the medical director of infection prevention and control there.
The vaccine is like one of the most amazing medical things that's come in my career. So we get a bit of
breakthrough infections happen, he says, because while vaccines offer excellent protection, they're not perfect.
I think people thought it was this flak jacket they were putting on to go back out and do everything they love to do again. And I think what Delta has taught us is that the vaccine is your seatbelt. You need to do everything else appropriately ahead of time. Continue to obey all the public health advice, because those things are the principles of staying safe.
Zender is a physical therapist. She was vaccinated before most people. Waning immunity may be a factor. She doesn't know how she got infected, and no one in her family got sick. They're also vaccinated. How breakthrough infections affect close contacts is something Powis is studying, but it's already clear vaccines are protecting most of us, he says.
I think we aren't realizing the number of times that there may have been a transient exposure at the grocery store or some other location, and the vaccine was able to prevent us from getting sick. That makes me think there probably are exposures we're having as vaccinated individuals that we don't ever recognize because we don't end up getting sick.
Experts say the number of breakthrough infections will continue to rise because the highly contagious Delta variant is still circulating. But the highest risk of infection and severe disease remains in the smallest denominator, the unvaccinated. According to Ontario's estimated weekly case average, 367 COVID infections are among the 4.1 million who are partially vaccinated or unvaccinated, compared to 172 breakthrough infections among the 10.6 million who've had both shots. Dr. Callie Barrett is a critical care doctor at Toronto's University Health Network. She says breakthrough infections are small in number, but can still cause severe disease in more vulnerable populations.
I'm fully vaccinated. I could still become infected, have a breakthrough infection, and become infectious and potentially get my kids sick. And my kids then could go to school and potentially pass it on in their classroom. And those kids could take it home and infect their grandparents.
Barrett says vaccines offer the best protection for everyone.
The message is, if you haven't been vaccinated, or if there's people in your family who are eligible to get vaccinated, please, 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 please get vaccinated, because you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for those in your family. It's so devastating what this is doing to families.
My sense of smell, taste, and I think my hearing is still reduced.
As for Zender, a month after testing positive, she still battles symptoms, including fatigue. But she's grateful.
I still feel thankful that I made it through, and even if this is as good as it gets, I still feel lucky. And I knew that it could have been much worse without the vaccine.
A reminder that in such a small number of breakthrough cases, there's a much bigger cautionary tale. Joanna Remiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
So listen, we've known from the start that breakthrough infections are possible, but how does what we've learned in the last few months affect what happens next? Well, infectious diseases specialist Dr. Zain Chagla joins us now to talk about that. So, Dr. Chagla, what do we know about why fundamentally we are seeing breakthrough infections? Like, is it primarily because we're getting, further and further from when most of us got our second doses, or is it something else?
Yeah, I mean, there's complexities to this. Remember, in the original Pfizer and Moderna trials, there were even people that had infections after a full dose of vaccine in those trials. So they're not unexpected from the get-go. But there are factors like the time from immunization where antibody levels may wean a little bit, the burden of COVID in your community. So if you're constantly exposed from a high burden in your community, yes, you're at higher risk of having a breakthrough infection then. Your age and other medical conditions where the vaccine may wane a bit faster than the average individual. And then finally, the fact that we do have the Delta variant where there is a little bit more immune escape, not a huge amount, but more than the original COVID strain that we saw. And sort of all of these are kind of adding up to see a little bit more breakthrough infections than we saw at the beginning of our vaccine campaign.
Can I pick up on something you said there? You mentioned age, being a factor. What do we know about who is most likely to get sick, even if they are vaccinated?
Yeah, and those are the groups that I think likely are going to be involved in a booster campaign. But we do know people who have immune problems that make them not have a response to the vaccine, where we really didn't vaccinate them. But B, people at the extremes of age, particularly over the age of 70 and 80, where their immune system is a little bit more slow than the average individual. And again, their antibody levels may wean a little bit more, knowing that's the age group that's also the highest risk of COVID complications. They're the most at risk for these breakthrough infections. And again, the ones that we need to think about seriously for booster campaigns.
And just very quickly, I know we're not there yet, but what is your best guess for when the general population would start getting boosters?
When we start seeing fully vaccinated people who are healthy that start getting serious complications, absolutely a booster campaign is needed. Right now, there's not really any data in the world to suggest the vaccine has waned in those individuals. And so it's probably a little bit more time before we start seeing boosters in the general population.
Okay, Dr. Chagla, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Demand is growing for at-home rapid COVID antigen tests, especially from parents of school-aged children who can't be vaccinated. These tests aren't cheap, but as Christine Birak shows us, they can provide an early warning.
The days of long lineups at COVID-19 testing sites are gone. PCR lab tests remain the gold standard in detecting any genetic material from the virus, but appointments and results can take days. Now, there's a growing push for wider use of at-home rapid antigen tests. Results can take minutes. They don't always detect early cases, but published studies show rapid tests can detect over 93% of cases in people carrying high viral loads who are likely to infect others.
If it's done frequently enough, you have a very good chance at catching people before they show symptoms, while they're actually infectious.
This is a passion fruit.
Preventing that spread can help keep societies open, but rapid tests need to be used properly. So we asked pharmacist Kiro Massett for some help.
Show me how I do my own rapid antigen test.
Sure. The first step you're going to do is...
After squeezing 10 drops of test solution into a tube, we need a sample.
I've done this once before.
Not as high up as PCR test swabs.
Squeeze and twist.
But still 5 to 10 seconds in each nostril.
You have the sample that goes inside this test tube in here.
After 2 minutes of stirring, the solution gets dropped onto the test. And then we wait for 15 minutes. If enough coronavirus is present in the sample, the spike proteins will stick to a row of antibodies embedded in the first line on the test. If not, the sample flows through to the control line.
That means you're negative.
But keep in mind,
if you do test positive with this test, we strongly urge you to isolate and validate that result with a PCR.
Now we're going to open the swab.
To be truly effective, rapid tests need to be done every 2 to 3 days. Tamara Robbins-Griffith was hoping they could help keep her children safe at school. Easy to use, but they're expensive. While German grocery stores sell rapid tests for roughly $1, Americans pay about $8. In Canada, it's usually $40 or more.
It's cost prohibitive to test twice a week. I will probably save them for when we're having a visit with a family member before anybody is inside together without masks on. Looks good.
She acknowledges not everyone can afford them. Some provinces, including Ontario, are reserving rapid antigen tests for businesses and some schools. But experts insist these tests can help keep everyone safer. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
In Russia, the number of new COVID cases is reaching new heights.
Do you think people here have taken COVID seriously?
I think not everyone.
Next on The National, an inside look at the unique treatments being offered to patients in that country.
I'll be very happy when we go up and we're in weightlessness and we know we're safe.
Well, the man who spent so many years going where no man has gone before is going to have to wait just a little longer to do it for real. William Shatner of Star Trek fame was supposed to hop on a Blue Origin rocket tomorrow, but high winds at the launch site in Texas pushed the trip back to Wednesday. At 90 years old, Shatner will be the oldest person to ever go into space.
Russia was the first country in the world to approve a COVID vaccine, but 14 months later, uptake is low and there's little effort to curb the virus's spread. Well, today, the country's COVID task force reported more than 29,000 new cases, the highest number in a year, and it holds the European record for deaths, 217,000. Russia may balk at tougher restrictions, but as Briar Stewart explains, it is pouring resources into post-COVID therapy.
It's the busiest metro system in Europe. Every day, more than 6 million passengers pile into Moscow's stations and onto trains. It's a system designed around accommodating large crowds in tight quarters, and all that continues with very little interruption.
If you're walking around Moscow, it's easy to forget that this city and the rest of Russia is still in the middle of a very deadly pandemic. Since the first wave, there hasn't been any kind of broad lockdowns, and there's still a sense among many here that COVID is no big deal.
We took a ride on a COVID-themed train, celebrating the work done by doctors and nurses. Even in these cars, where the reminders of COVID are literally everywhere, many are not wearing masks, even though they're mandatory. I walked around in a mask and I still got sick. I had COVID in the spring, this woman said.
Я не люблю носить маску. Mask is bad. It's bad.
Do you think people here have taken COVID seriously?
I think not everyone. In Moscow, probably most of people think that is a great problem, but in regions they don't think it's a problem at all.
But that attitude is also shared by many in Russia's capital. Even though the ambulances are once again lining up at local hospitals and the country is seeing a record number of deaths. At one time, 7,000 people went through this vaccination clinic every day, but there isn't that demand now. In Moscow, about 50% of adults are vaccinated. Across the country, the overall rate is even lower, about 40%. Many of those who are getting vaccinated here are getting their third shot.
We need it. And I want to visit Europe. I want to, to travel. And I want to be healthy.
The Russian vaccine Sputnik still hasn't been approved by the WHO, but research studies and Vladimir Putin himself have attested to its effectiveness. He said the vaccine helped protect him when dozens in his entourage fell ill with COVID. But despite the virus's rampant spread, the country is not headed toward another hard lockdown. The priority is to keep the economy moving. So for now, Russia appears just willing to accept the surging fourth wave and the lingering impact of the virus. As cases rise, so do the waiting lists for post-COVID care. About 400 kilometers northeast of Moscow, a unique rehabilitation center all built around alternative treatments. Like vibrating vests, which they claim helps to clear out an airway. And magnetic therapy, which they claim stimulates their cardiovascular system. In this room, patients are put into hyperbaric oxygen chambers for 30 minutes. Their bodies get a saturation of oxygen they didn't get while they were sick, says this doctor. People pass the time relaxing or scrolling through social media. This treatment is offered at many of Russia's sanatoriums, wellness centers that flourished during the Soviet era. Your ears start to pop when it all starts, but then it's fine, and you feel like you do when you fly, this woman said. This center has treated astronauts and workers who responded to Chernobyl. Now part of its focus is on recovering COVID patients. If they're accepted into this program, they get a 10-day stay, which can be completely paid for by the government. These two sisters were both hospitalized with COVID at the same time and have lung damage. Thank God they helped me, this 64-year-old said. Here they continue to care, and we're happy. In most of these rooms, the treatments on offer wouldn't be available in Canadian clinics and hospitals because these therapies are unproven. But patients like Tatiana Loshkina, who's getting her back vibrated, says she feels better already. You feel lighter, not as tired or depressed, she said. Loshkina has been here 6 days, sharing a suite with another woman who's also recovering from COVID. And Loshkina, like nearly everyone else we spoke with here, said she wasn't concerned about COVID until she got sick. And this healthcare worker from Moscow has seen that firsthand. Many people just don't understand how serious it is, she said. You see what's going on in the metro in Moscow. If you tell someone to put on a mask, people get angry. Back in Moscow on our train ride, it was clear that there's a real mix when it comes to not only how people see the virus, but how fed up they are with hearing and talking about it. You can die from anything, a stroke, a heart attack, this woman said, so why be afraid of COVID? That might seem like a depressing assessment, but many here will contend they're just being realistic, that life for most has to continue, even if the country is still in the throes of the pandemic. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Moscow.
Well, up next, we will take you to a small school in British Columbia with an unusual student population.
What's the worst thing about having a identical twin brother?
Having to look as ugly as him.
Ouch. They're just one of 6 sets of twins. We'll hear more from the kids right after the break. Well, there might be something in the water in Sicamous, British Columbia. In one of the small town's elementary schools, there are 6 sets of twins. The CBC's Brady Strachan went to visit the place where they're seeing double.
And the bad thing is we fight a lot. Not a lot. We fight sometimes.
Despite the odd quarrel, Logan and Aurora Dawson are inseparable. They share a grade 1 class at Parkview Elementary in Sicamous. And as twins, they know an awful lot about each other.
And I know what kind of food he does not like. He hates squash and pumpkin.
Logan and Aurora are one of 6 sets of twins at the school, of only 205 kids.
It seems like an anomaly. In my
25 plus years of education, I've never seen this.
The twins factor is the talk of the town. Worldwide, 1 in 42 children are born as a twin, and Parkview is bucking the trend.
That's Dawn and Dustin. I can speak for myself.
The identical twins at Parkview say one of the worst aspects of having a twin brother is their friends mixing them up.
And I come in from recess and he says I'm Dustin, but I'm like, no, I'm not.
How does that make you feel?
Like he just doesn't really care anymore.
Cody and Levi Clark in grade 6 can relate.
What's the worst thing about having a identical twin brother?
Having to look as ugly as him. Yeah, same as him. I don't like looking like him.
There are a lot of benefits, though. For Kate Osmondson in grade 4, it's her unique bond with her twin sister, Reese.
She's like a best friend, and she's very special to me. And if anything goes wrong, she always has my back.
Macy Lane knows how to cheer her brother Max up when he's feeling down.
Sometimes if I have chocolate, I give him a piece. I like about being twins that I always have somebody to look out for.
And Emily Presley is always on her brother Nathan's side, even if they do fight sometimes. Brady Strachan, CBC News, Sicamous, British Columbia.
Look at that. DC Comics has made a big announcement about one of the world's most famous superheroes. Superman's historic moment is our moment right after the break.
Well, DC Comics has a new Superman in town. He is John Kent, the son of Clark Kent and Lois Lane. More opinionated than his dad. He's concerned about the environment, doesn't shy away from politics, and of course there is another difference. This Man of Steel is about to come out as bisexual. In an upcoming issue, he'll begin a romantic relationship with his friend, Jay Nakamura. And so, when a cultural shift is more powerful than a locomotive, it's our moment.
The significance of this is tied in a bit to how big a character this is within the DC universe. So Superman, one of the biggest characters they have, this being the son taking on the mantle of Superman.
What it means is that DC Comics is really bringing out more diversity in their characters and really kind of trying to show what the real life world looks like in comic books, even more so than they've been doing over the past couple years.
Bi erasure is a very real thing when we talk about identity, and the fact that there is a significant bi character means that there are young people, bisexual people, who now have something to see themselves in superhero comics.
This makes a big difference in that area, because if you're not thinking that there's no one else like you, but hey, there's a comic book, I might add, there's a comic book right there. If that, they can go, oh my God, this is a character everyone recognizes, and now this character is bisexual, is something like me. It makes a huge difference.
So clearly, from a representation point of view, this is significant. This is meaningful. But I got to say, I didn't even know that there were multiple Supermans. I feel like I have a lot of reading to catch up on. Yeah, but the timing is something, right?
For sure. This is National Coming Out Day. It's been the thing since 1988, and this Superman is a chip off the old block, falling in love with the reporter.
Of course.
As you do. That is a national for October the 11th. Night.
Good night.